Hi guys, welcome back to The Contented Plant. Today we are going to pot up some Pothos N Joy cuttings, and I will talk a little bit about the care of this plant. I'm so happy I got these cuttings. They're actually really hard to find in store and online. I've been propagating them in some bright indirect light on a windowsill for probably about 3 weeks now, and they're definitely ready to plant. You can see the roots are nice and long, and they're actually putting out some new leaf growth. So let's get these potted up. I found this cute little yellow pot that I'm gonna put these in, and I am so excited about it. It looks so summery. So here's my soil mix. I'm using just regular potting soil, and then I like to add an extra bit of perlite in there just to help the drainage for this plant. And I just mix it around with my fingers. As always, we are going to make sure that our pot has a nice drainage hole here. You want to be a good plant parent and give your plant the best chance possible. You always make sure they have a drainage hole so we don't give them root rot. So a good little hack that I've found, if you don't want all your soil to fall through the bottom when you're potting it, you just take a little, this is just a regular glass marble. So I just stick it in the bottom of the pot, and when I'm all done potting, I just whack it and it'll just fall to the side and the soil will stay in place. Okay, so we have our dirt in the pot, and I'm just going to start placing these cuttings in one by one. So I have 9 cuttings here, and that should make me a really nice full plant. So you can see I've got the nice long root here and a couple coming right off the side. You just poke your finger down in there and place it with the root down, and then cover that with soil. And then at the end, I'm going to give these a spritz so they are nice and moist in the soil. Do you see the coloring on this leaf? These are just the coolest plants. I love these. They have different shades of green here, along with that really beautiful bright white splash of coloring there. I'm super excited to see this one grow. Okay, I'm just pushing them right down into the soil using my fingers and giving them a nice covering of dirt. A lot of these already started to get secondary leaves growing off of the roots, which is fantastic. These are very happy, healthy little cuttings that I think are going to do really well. So for this plant, it's going to want, just like every plant, it'll do best in bright and direct light. And because it is a very heavily variegated plant, you're going to want to make sure that it gets a good amount of light. Otherwise, the variegation can revert back to green. This is because the plant feeds best off of the darkest green area. That's where it can photosynthesize. It does not photosynthesize through these really light, bright areas. So to protect itself, if you keep it in a lower light area, it's going to start producing way more dark green, and it's going to start to get rid of that white coloring. So if you want a nice variegated Pothos N Joy, definitely keep it in a spot that has brighter light. This plant is much hardier than most house plants. However, it can still get root rot, so you want to be really careful with how you're potting it. Make sure you have a good draining potting soil. Make sure that your pot has a hole on the bottom, and make sure that you maintain a good watering schedule. And with mine, I've found it's every week to 2 weeks. Definitely in the summertime when it's warmer out, it's about every week that they want a nice watering. You want to put your finger about 1 inch down into the soil. If your finger comes out with dirt about this far down, that means your plant is probably okay and has enough moisture in the soil. If your finger comes out completely dry, you're going to want to water your pothos. The other good way to tell is if your pot is really light and it doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of weight to it, it probably is kind of dry as a bone and you're going to need to give it some water. So this is obviously a small plant that I just propagated some cuttings from. This is a full-grown mature Marble Queen pothos, and you can see the way this is going to grow when it's big is it's going to send vines down the side of the pot, and eventually I will convert this probably to a hanging planter. So through the summertime, you're going to want to fertilize this plant, usually once a month or so. Just give it a little spritz of fertilizer. What I like to do is I actually water all of my plants with water from my fish tank because it has a lot of nitrates in it. If you don't have a fish tank, no worries, you can use a commercial fertilizer. However, be careful because if you over-fertilize, you can burn the leaves of your plant. So for this plant, you're gonna wanna clean the leaves every 2 to 3 weeks. Dust can accumulate on the plant leaves and it will hinder its ability to absorb nutrients through the leaf. It can also encourage pests like spider mites, and you do not want spider mites on your plant. So if you clean the leaves off, it can discourage pests from making this plant its home. And for lighting, you're gonna wanna keep this plant out of bright, direct sunlight. So I would not go sitting this somewhere that it's gonna just get the hot afternoon sun beating down on it. You can burn the leaves, they can get sunburned that way. And honestly, this plant doesn't need that. If it gets an area where it has probably 2 hours or so of filtered sunlight, that will keep the variegation going on it. Again, if you stick it in an area where it's getting no sunlight at all, it will continue to grow. However, it will grow slower and it will put out darker green leaves and you will lose that beautiful variegation on them. So that's it. That is the care on this Pothos N Joy. If you have one, please let me know down below, or if it's on your plant wish list, I would love to know about it. I'm so happy I have this plant and I'm really looking forward to seeing it grow. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you back at the Contented Plant for more care tips. Bye-bye.